Hey everyone, it's Deborah J from deborahjkelly.com. I wanted to make a video today about taking back our power, okay? So a while ago, it was actually during my Reiki Mastership, we were doing a bit of a past life regression kind of a thing. And something that I wasn't actually expecting anything to come up at the time, and something that came up really, really vividly for me was um it was like I was in like a past life where I was an Aboriginal, I was in Australia somewhere, and I was stood around this fire, and I had all these people from my tribe or my group or my community, and they were like this, they were like pleading, they were like hands begging up at me to save them. And I remember standing there going, how did we get here? How did we get to this point in human history where all these people are asking me to solve their problems, or or were dependent on me to help them to save themselves. And I remember thinking to myself, oh my God, like they have all the gifts, all the power that they need. They've all the answers inside themselves. Why can they not see this? And what was really, really strong was that they had handed away their power, and they had been conditioned and programmed at a young age up until adulthood to basically think like, I don't have the power, everybody else has the answers, I can't answer my own questions, I must depend on other people to be able to answer my questions. And I see this a lot with my clients. When people are coming to me, they don't have a strong level of self-trust in their ability to solve their own problems. They don't know how to tap into their inner wisdom, and they don't know how to tap into their intuition, or they don't trust their intuition. And this is essentially the work that I do. I do fully believe that the world that we live in, a lot of the pain, a lot of the pain that's going on is to do with a total disconnection from ourselves. And that is a disconnection from our intuition. It is a disconnection from our inner wisdom, and it is a disconnection from knowing who we intuitively are. Because if we had more self-trust, we would get an intuitive hit or something, our inner wisdom would kind of like speak with us, and we'd be like, yes, that's the answer, and we would act on it. And instead what tends to happen is life comes at us and knocks us down, and we're like, oh my God, what do I do? What do I do? How do I help myself? Like literally, and this is not mocking or making fun of, this was me years ago. I constantly handed over my power. I literally felt completely unqualified to be at the wheel of my own life. I honestly really did. And a lot of that was because I had been in friendships and relationships where I constantly handed away my power. If I had something going on in my life, a challenge that would come up, the first thing I would do is ask somebody how to solve it. I never even realized that I didn't trust myself enough to answer my own questions or solve my own riddles. And any time that I felt that I was trying to solve my own riddles or solve my own problems, for some reason it wouldn't always go right, and then I would end up in even more of a fluster. So something would come up, I'd need somebody to help me answer, like solve the problem. It maybe their solution wasn't the right one, or maybe maybe there was nobody around to ask, so I'd panic and I'd be like, oh my God, how do I solve this problem? And like the panic and the fear was because I just didn't trust myself enough to answer my own questions. And when we do that over and over and over again, we're actually sending a message to ourself, to our energetic self, that I don't trust you, And a lot of the self-development world, a lot of the spiritual world is built upon this idea that there's something wrong with us and we need to fix it. And I don't like this part of myself and I need to fix it, or I don't like how I react in this way, so I need to like cut it out and like put it to one side and fix it, or analyze it within to an inch of its life, and like try and make it change. And quite often what we find is, if you look at the areas of life that you're, the women that I work with, they're self-development learning junkies. So if you look at all the courses and all the books and all the things that you've been doing to try and like fix these parts of yourself away, you'll realize that it will work for a certain amount of time and you'll be like, yeah, I've got this. And then suddenly, boom, life will happen and you'll end up right back at the start again. And what we need to look at is, if you keep ending up back where you were, you have to understand there was nothing broken in the first place and you didn't need to fix anything. And what's happening is there's actively a part of you that's just looking to be integrated and accepted and seen. So what is this about? This is about the fact that we don't trust ourselves enough to make decisions. We don't trust ourselves enough to know ourselves enough to make the right decisions. And a lot of the work that I do, first of all, is to help people heal and come back into balance, because it can feel like panic and anxiety and stress and overwhelm and worry when we feel like something in life happens. We're like, oh my God, I don't know what to do. I don't know how to handle this. The reason we have that is because we've lost the ability to connect in with ourselves and to know intuitively that you've got this for yourself. You have got this for yourself. And so when you don't feel that you've got this for yourself, there's like panic. It's like, what can I grab onto? This thrashing about in the water. So what I do with my clients is we work on healing the energy first. I use a lot of Reiki to be able to just bring people back into the body, come back into balance, plug back in, calm themselves down, and start to energetically come back into alignment so that they are feeling less panic and overwhelm and worry. Because that panic and overwhelm and worry is like, I don't know the answer, I don't know how to fix this, it's that thrashing about. When you come back into balance and you come back into a state of calm, now you can make more decisions. You can make better aligned decisions. When we're in a place of fear, anxiety and overwhelm, we're in fight or flight. So it's a bit like, when the bear is chasing us, we're not going to sit there and like make calm decisions. We're going to be like, I'm running. Running is the only decision, or staying dead where you are is the only decision. Or so it's fight, flight or freeze, or like freezing where you are. They're really, when we're in the heightened state, when our nervous system is in a heightened state of awareness or panic, we can't make logical decisions. It's just impossible to do. So what we need to do is actually just get back into a state of calm and a state of peace. And we can do this in so many different ways. Again, when I'm working with clients in my 8-week holistic life skills program, this is part of what we do. We learn how to like self-regulate and bring ourselves back into balance. So that can be like meditating, journaling. It can be using Bach flower remedies or essential oils. It can be using nostril breathing. It can be using all these different tools so that when life happens and we end up in panic mode, the first thing you do is not like try to figure things out. The first thing you need to do is come back into balance, come back into your body, come back, feel grounded, feel energetically grounded. And from that place, now you can start making decisions. Because what you want to do next is you want to learn how to tap into your inner wisdom and learn how to tap into your intuition. Most people aren't tapping into these because they're in the fight or flight state all the time. And intuition comes in very, very silently. Your inner wisdom comes in very silently. If you're making decisions from a place of panic, that's not your intuition and it's not your inner wisdom. Your inner wisdom and intuition will come in this very calm, quiet kind of voice, nearly, or this knowing in your body. So what we do then is we work with tools to help us bring us into that calm place so we can start to hear the intuition and start to hear the inner wisdom. But quite often what's needed is also a self-trust, because most of us don't know how to trust our intuition or our inner wisdom when it comes up, because we've basically gotten into the habit of like handing our power away constantly, asking other people for advice, other people for help. When we're doing that all the time, we're not taking responsibility for our own ability to be able to solve our problems. So if, for example, like this is probably the best way of kind of showing it is, if you ask somebody for their help and they give you advice and you constantly ignore it, it would send a message to that person that you don't trust them. Yeah. And the same thing is with yourself. If you're asking yourself for advice and for wisdom, and it's telling you something and you just blatantly ignore it and kind of do something else, or you think you're honoring what you think the answer is and you go off and you do something else, you're kind of blatantly sending a message to yourself that you don't trust that intuition, you don't trust that inner wisdom. And so it begins to feel scary to trust your own intuition and your own inner wisdom. So what you want to do is begin to rebuild an energetic trust and rapport with your own internal compass. And that's not something that happens overnight. It is not something that, well, you can just click into it, but you need to get into the feeling of, what does it feel like when my intuition or inner wisdom comes up? What does it feel like to regulate myself? What does it feel like to trust those nudges? And when you begin to tap into that and do that work, now when life comes along and you get like a little nudge, you're like, ooh, I know this feeling, I'm familiar with it, and now I can work with it. Because, you know, things happen in life like fear and anxiety and, you know, those kind of emotions. There can be a fine line between those emotions and like excitement. Sometimes we might be really excited about something and it can put us into a state of anxiety. Sometimes you might be, you know, very anxious about something and we might get excitable. Think about a kid. When a kid is like overexcited, they get like anxious, and vice versa. So we need to learn how to work with our emotions and regulate them. So all the work that I do is basically helping you to come back into balance, helping you to show you the tools that are needed to bring you back into balance so that you can come back to a place of calm. And then we start working with the tools that you can use to be able to tap into your own intuition and your own inner wisdom, with a view to in future being able to answer your own questions, solve your own riddles, and not constantly be in a vulnerable state where you're handing away your power to other people telling you what to do, because nobody can answer your questions. Nobody can tell you really what to do. They can only tell you what to do from their own life experience, which has not been you. You know, you're the only one who's had your entire life experience. So that was just my little bit of a video today. I just wanted to talk about empowerment, because when we are constantly in a state of not being able to answer our own questions, we are handing away our power to other people to answer and advise us on those questions, when really they're not qualified. Nobody is qualified to give you answers. Only you are the only one qualified to answer your own questions. And yes, we can talk to other people and ask other people for their advice, but really that should only be a sounding board for you to then intuitively feel like their feedback, is that right or wrong for me? So when we're asking, so when we have rebuilt the energetic trust and rapport with ourselves, when we feel like we have self-trust in ourselves to be able to answer and interpret our experiences and answer our own questions, when we feel like we have reconnected back in with the intuition and the inner wisdom, when we can hear it and really trust it and decipher it, now we're in a place of integrity. Now we're in a place of sovereignty. And now, if you ever need somebody else's advice, or you want to run something past somebody, it's not because you're dependent on them to give you the solution. It's because you want to hear what their feedback is, so that you can use that as a, does that feel right or wrong? Not that is gospel, the person is telling me what to do, I must go do that because I can't make the decisions for myself. Or that person has given me advice, I'm going to go do that because I don't trust my own advice. What you're doing is you're asking that question, and the information is bouncing back at you to go, is that in alignment with me? Do I feel that that's true? Do I feel that that's correct? Is there anything from that I can take that resonates with me? And you might go, actually no, what that person is saying doesn't resonate with me. Now you're taking back your power, because you're not like blatantly taking somebody else's advice. You're actually like bringing it into your body and going, does that feel right? Yeah, that feels right. Now I can go do that. Does that feel right? No, that doesn't feel right. Okay, I'm not going to go there. And that's what it is to be sovereign in yourself, to be self-reliant, to be self-governing, to trust yourself, to know yourself so well that you can trust your own intuition and your own inner wisdom. So I hope that that's been in some way helpful. I hope it makes sense to you. If you feel that this has been helpful, or if you've liked this video, please hit the like button. It helps my videos to reach more people. Do drop a comment below and let me know. Do you feel like you're connected with your intuition? Is there any areas that you're struggling in, or that you feel sound familiar from this video? Share this with anybody that you feel might benefit from it. And then also, if you'd like to work with me one-to-one or in group settings, you can check out all my information on deborahjkelly.com. You can email me on deborahjsoulnavigation@gmail.com, and you'll find me all across social media on Deborah J. I shall talk to you soon. Bye.